You know the rules. Stir your coffee. We haven't started yet. If we had, believe you me, you would know. There would be ones of people here. Okay, so obviously we haven't started yet. Jeez Louise. Anyhow. Yes. Excellent. Okay, we can start now. Welcome to Chatty Coffee Crew. Or, hey, you're here by accident. Either way, welcome. Anyhow, of course we do what we're told, and when ones of our viewers tell us that the next episode really needs to hone in and be about game development and mechanics, then we think to ourselves, that's one less topic we have to come up with. It's like the work does itself. And by work does itself, we mean we don't have to do any. So it works out in our benefit and vicariously through us, the crappiest, worst internet celebrity that there is. Yes, someone's got to be it. And we're okay with that title because it should befall a very mediocre income when it comes down to it. And believe you me, if there's one thing we want, it's any sort of income. So, there you go. We're the bottom line celebrity. But when all ones of our viewers tell us, you need to do an episode on game mechanics and development, we think to ourselves, of course we do. Because every member of Chatty Coffee Crew, which is anyone who shows up, you know, in essence, whoever shows up, you're a member. You might not want to be, but you're on a watch list now. So, and not the watch list you think, not the notification that we're doing a live stream. Different watch list, one you don't want to be on. Delete your cache immediately. You're already on it, though. Too late. Anyhow, we made a note of it we tried to spray paint it. That didn't work, obviously. We wrote it out. Not well, but we remembered because as a member of Chatty Coffee Crew, you know that everything needs to be entirely open for, you know, interpretation on stuff. Hello and hi, yes. Samantha, welcome, welcome. And all ones of you joining us, welcome. We were just starting the show off, pretty much. Look how much coffee we have left. You're in for nuns of entertainment from this point forward. You might be saying to yourself, man, I wish there was something else on. But it looks like there's not. So, do you play Grow a Garden? Well, we don't play Grow a Garden. We actually do grow a garden. You might recognize us from all ones of our reviews on a above ground gardening thing, but we have a garden. It's not good, but on Roblox. No, so, all right. So Roblox is a weird game for us, okay? This is very unpopular because it's a very popular game. We love, he played with little kids. Oh, geez, no, we don't usually play with little kids. So, with Roblox, man, we like every element and aspect that game offers, okay? We were huge fans of the game Dreams that came out and such, okay? And the game Dreams had such a user creativity to it, all right, that could really draw you in, whether you were making your own levels and creations and or playing other people's levels and creations. It was a fantastic, phenomenal time. Roblox for us falls in the same realm of offering a lot of great stuff. Now, here's our unpopular opinion. We don't like Roblox. We don't like the monetization. We don't like the negative stuff that is associated and affiliated with it. We don't like how people have been ripped off and taken advantage of on that game. Now, We understand that in a massively online multiplayer endeavor, you're going to have all walks of life. But if there's one thing that we don't want to, hey, man, Roblox we are on the lower end of the tier of folks who do not appreciate the game. We respect it for everything that it offers. There's a lot of fun there. We've played Roblox. We might even have it still downloaded or installed somewhere. Probably not, but we played it and we respect it for everything that it offers. There's a lot of stuff to it, though, or whatever, that, inherently is some negative connotations to it, almost like there needs to be, and we're definitely not for a means of control or censorship or anything like that. But man, it's almost like they need to come out with a Roblox 2 and fine-tune some of the aspects and elements of it. You could probably tweak it up pretty well in doing so, but with the massive player base that exists and everything like that, we understand why they wouldn't want to do that or anything along that line or nature, as well as anyone who plays Roblox and has invested monetarily into the skins and the different, iterations of monetization that does exist or can exist in the game, then obviously they probably wouldn't be a huge fan of a Roblox 2 coming out and rolling out. Now, to each his own. Like we said, we respect Roblox for what it offers. We don't play Roblox, okay? That's probably the best way to put it, all right? The game offers excellent gameplay, excellent endeavors for a player or a gamer to embark upon, to undertake, to have fun with, to sink hours upon hours into. And we've sunk hours into. Not hours upon hours, but we have sunk hours into Roblox, okay? It's just not the game for us, all right? If we were to do a massive online multiplayer or something or another and, really get into it and stuff, the genre is so wide at this point, we would probably start playing Concord. That's still available, right? You can hop on, log in. No, there's so many games out there. We don't hone in. We've touched Roblox. We've played Roblox. We're not a active user participant in their player base on Roblox. But lo and behold, without further ado, let's kick off some of, what we were told we should be doing. And that's talking about game development and mechanics. So you might be saying to yourself, there's so many ways to go with this topic. I hope he doesn't go anywhere at all and just ends the stream. But that's where you're wrong, because we have a lot of coffee left. We'll get on it, but we'll still be here for a minute. We won't. Okay, that's fine. We don't need you here to have coffee with us while we talk about the most important stuff at hand in the gaming industry currently right now, and you only get this information on ChattyCoffeeCrew. Okay? Yes, it might not be good information, and a lot of it might just be opinionated crap. Yes! Hey, all right, Luke the Hybrid. Dolmari Games. Brother man, we couldn't remember the end of the title. We were like, Luke, we knew it started with an L. We couldn't remember the hybrid, and that's on us. But, everybody, do you hear that? Delmari Games has got DLC in the works for Luke the Hybrid. If you haven't checked this game out on Steam, why are you watching this? You should be playing that. Support indie development. Okay? This is the future of gaming. No, AI is, motherfucker. Huh? What? Well, AI might be okay at it, but you should support indie development anyway. And Delmari Games is our favorite indie developer ever. So, there you go. Anyhow, we're talking about game mechanics and development, and we have a real-life developer here in ChattyCoffeeCrew. Yes, see how we're not the best celebrity. All right, we already said we're the crappiest one that exists. Okay, we are the ground floor. We claim it. But look, we got developers approaching us ones at a time to bring us information that we can present to all ones of you that watch this. Hi, Mom. Anyhow, Luke the Hybrid, hey, all right, man. You know what? That's exactly what this world needed. So Damari is filling us in, okay? Damari Games, Luke the Hybrid, they are filling us in right now, okay? This is breaking news. Breaking news. Hold on. Management is calling us. What do you want? We're doing the show. We got breaking news. You can't tell us we have breaking news. We already fucking know. Damn it. We're on a roll. Damari Games is giving us breaking news. We're trying to highlight it. Management chiming in, acting like they know how to run the place. Anyhow, breaking news, Luke the Hybrid, DLC in the works. You better get into that game now. Start playing it, because the DLC is going to come out. And you're going to want to be able to get it right away. So, there you go. In Luke the Hybrid, we've been informed as well to kind of encapsulate this aspect and this, feeling and sentiment as well. In this game, you aren't fighting against some rogue government. You aren't fighting against some pesky little alien invaders. No. You are fighting against AI robots. And we know a lot of people are mad at Elon Musk. Look at all the genitalia scratched into Teslas as of pseudo recently. Crazy. That showed him. Anyhow, excellent to hear. Luke the Hybrid, new DLC in the works, Damari Games. Check it out on Steam. But we need to talk about a little bit more of game mechanics, okay? Now, game mechanics have come a long way over the years. You could say you got stuff like rumble features that were added in, or motion capture that was added in, or all of the additional buttons and gameplay elements and such that were added in, okay? The mechanics of games and what games could do have changed in succession with the technology that is available with which to allow it to do it. For instance, the Atari controller, one joystick and a button. You could probably add a rumble pack to that, okay? But it's not going to be a great controller for a first-person shooter, okay? Make it a little challenging. But if you add any of the modern controllers into the element in the mix, and you add the mechanics that a first-person shooter needs, all right? Movement, camera, other stuff, whatever it needs, okay? That needs to inherently be in there. And it's fantastic when it is. Because if it's not, usually the game will not be good. So, you have mechanics, though, that have rolled out over the years that haven't necessarily been as successful as companies might have wished or, hoped for. One of our first examples of such is going to be Tony Hawk Ride. You might be saying, what mechanics are those? Well, this one had the giant-ass skateboard that you would skate on in your mom's living room when you came upstairs from the basement and put it in and were like, hey, I hope your coffee table's not made of glass, because if it is, you might want to get a new one by the end of today. Because I got some Tony Hawk Ride skateboarding to do in the house. And it was fantastic. Was it fully, fleshed out and presented to the gamer in a completely 100% working, iteration? Yeah, it ran. I ollied, motherfucker. Game says you didn't. Game says you didn't. So, you didn't. You did not ollie. But it was very creative, man, to have an outside peripheral device. You had the little smash pad, all right, on the Nintendo. What was it called? The power pad? No. Yes? I don't know. That you would use for, like, the Olympics games and things like that. It's fantastic. You really had, a lot of elements to it, okay? When Super Nintendo came out, you had Super Scope 6, okay? You've always had additional peripherals and whatnot that added additional mechanics to games. And it's just phenomenal to see how companies over the years have utilized and done such just like that. But enough with this crap. Let's get back to the important stuff like Domari Games. And as we have been told, the new DLC that you should be on the lookout for, okay, obviously, is the Red Era. Now, when you're fighting AI robots, you need to think to yourself, what is the best way to do this? And obviously the best way is to just do it in Luke the Hybrid. So there you go. As far as mechanics that are developed and utilized in games currently as well, that have transformed over the years, all right, but always maintain that little base caliber of their initial functionality. Look at stuff like all of those melee fighter games, okay? Now Super Smash Brothers obviously introduced all of the mechanics of the genre in itself, okay? Not this version, the older version, like the GameCube version, which was awesome. You have this that came out, was extremely successful, all right? And you had games copy-paste exactly what they could do within the confines of the characters and rosters they had available. All right? What was it? Warner Brothers, the multiverses. They tried to just recently launch one in the last few years. All right? Was it that great? Not really. Rotating cast of characters that you don't constantly have access to. What the fuck's the point of learning how to get good with someone if you can't play them anymore? I don't know. It's like practicing with Scorpion to play fucking Raiden. It doesn't make sense. But anyhow, there's a lot of games that utilize the Smash Brothers mechanics, okay, and the overall theme of the game, all right, of a melee brawler for folks, for individuals or whatever on it, approximately. Maybe you're playing against a computer. I don't know. Whatever. I don't pay for Nintendo Online, so I just play against CPU. Whatever. Okay? You have other games that are like, hey, we want to do this too. Look at, All-Stars, from PlayStation All-Stars. All right? Now, we love the hell out of that game. We still have it on Vita. And if there was a game that we were going to pop on and play on Vita, if it wasn't going to be Resistance or, one of those, then it might very well be All-Stars. It's a fantastic, take on the Melee Smash Brothers experience, okay? Different roster of characters. It was all the PlayStation characters, stuff like that. They took the mechanics, they utilized the mechanics, and they added to the gaming industry and gave people on PlayStation and additional handhelds not relegated strictly to Nintendo the ability to use these mechanics that Nintendo created, put out first, does the best in many regards. But, definitely one of those mechanics that is appreciated to be out, because those melee fighter games are inherently fairly fun, unless you don't find them fun, in which case they're not fun for you, but for everyone else they're probably fairly fun. It's a prequel, takes place in 2025. Base game took place in 2042 in a post-apocalyptic world. DLC tells the story of how it all went down. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, building on the core dynamics of the story and whatnot, touching up. So many games fail to do that, to, close any open-ended loops. And when you have active game developers, okay, and Domari Games, obviously, in the studio today, not physically, but always spiritually and emotionally in our hearts, because we love Domari Games. In the Coffee Crew today, highlighting the fact that game developers that care about their projects will devote the time and the attention and the dedication needed to continually improve it and make it better. Look at Skycamp Studio, okay? Based out of, presumably, South Korea, okay? They're awesome. They sponsored us once even. Oh, that was a mistake. Whatever. Too late now. We got that game for free, motherfuckers. These dudes constantly are showing love to their game. And inherently, it seems to be all of these smaller studios, smaller entities, your Dolmari Games, your Skycamp Studio, that takes the time, presumably, to show that love and attention to detail to the craft that they are creating. And it pays off in droves for the gamer. You have a more well fleshed out story. Okay? Any loopholes that you might have had, pertaining to it should be rounded out and closed off. It's another take, another iteration, another aspect of the game that will inherently beef it up, make it bulkier, make it, longevity-wise, that extra duration of play because it's going to add the extra content to it, all right? When a developer shows love to a title, the title can thrive and grow and sustain itself, okay? There's a difference when developers, in game development, like in Destiny or Destiny 2, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday in our not game mechanics and development portion of the show. Destiny and Destiny 2, right? If you're stringing players along and dropping a little something and a little something and a little something in the hopes of continually maintaining that player base forever, you're sacrificing your creation of new intellectual properties and games, okay? You're sacrificing a sequel, to what is existent because, you're screwing around with all this other stuff trying to increase longevity. There's a difference when a AAA studio that has the money and the funds is doing this and throwing it at the game, and when you have a smaller entity or creator, Skycamp, Dolmari Games, that show love and add extra content to the game because the game is still in the works. It can still be developed. It can still be picked up by AA and AAA studios itself. And, add extra developers too. This, that, the other. Or not. Remain independent. Always a fantastic route. Might not pay off as well, but look at all the channels that didn't try to scoop us up. People always talk about Crowder being offered millions of dollars to go on that one show, and other people being offered this, that, the other, dedicating their time to go live stream for Rumble for free. We haven't gotten paid the first time, so there's nothing else to volunteer. We're just here. That's how it goes. How it also goes is it's much appreciated from the gamer, from the consumer, when games are shown the love and attention to detail in game development and the process, which can be open-ended. Just because a game is done, is it inherently done? Not if you're The Last of Us or The Last of Us 2. 20 more iterations, that motherfucker coming out. No, they're already out. Oh, we missed them. No, we must have missed that re-released, remastered release. But, they're out there. Surely, they're coming out. Don't worry. By Christmas, you should have another remaster or remake available at your fingertips or your wallet tips. Oh, they want the tip, all right, of that card inserted with that fucking chip. Give me your money. Whatever. The point is that there's differences in game development and the content that can be added to a title when you have huge, massive budget behind it and huge, massive studio and teams behind it and smaller independent teams behind it with smaller budgets and everything affixated and attached to it. Okay? Why is it that games like the newest Assassins of the Creed comes out and does shit with shit ton of money behind it, right? And then you have that whatever druggy Empire game came out. We don't remember what it's called. It looked awesome, we're not hating on it, knocking on it, anything like that. It's at Records. Made by one person, right? 2, 3, I don't know. 1 to 3 people. The reason that game did good is because a independent developer showed it the love and attention to detail that they could and that the game needed. They made and created a gameplay loop that worked better than all of these executive assholes getting paid thousands of dollars a year. High rollers. Some of those top executives, probably six figures. That's a lot. That's six numbers. We'd take one number. Fuck. You got a dime? Shit. The point is that you got these entities, creators, and the development, okay, that just are able to show far more love to a game and have it pay off far greater amongst the player base than something that is just force-fed slop that's, a regurgitated, rehashed historical mess, all right, that lost sight and direction of where it was supposed to be going long ago, okay? It probably changed in development from their first meeting talking about, hey, let's make another Assassin's Creed, to, hey, this Assassin's Creed that we made another one of is almost out. Somewhere in there they had meetings. Companies love to have meetings. It's like extra work. Like, hey, if you're not busy doing your regular job we hired you for, come sit in on this fucking meeting for an hour. No thanks. We didn't get that email. Yes, you did. That's why we called you, motherfucker. Huh? What? There's game mechanics that have come out in years past, all right, that have been very, very creative, okay? You look at all of that. God. All right, so Far Cry, okay? Another one of those intellectual properties that many iterations have come out, all right? They've dropped a few too many as far as we're concerned, all right? But look at one of the best mechanics that has been hands down added to games in the last, we gotta say, shit. The best mechanic, hands down added to games in the last 10 years. You forward this out to everyone. We're about to announce the best mechanic, hands down. No one can argue it. Or they can. But believe you me, our rebuttal will be rebutted. Wait, that's in their favor. Anyhow, the best mechanic that has come down, believe it or not, in the last 10 years, comes from Far Cry. Getting kidnapped and taken hostage. That's the best game mechanic that they've fucking come up with at that company in the last 10 years. You know how many times you get taken hostage or prisoner in Far Cry games? A lot. One of them we counted at least three. 3 times our asshole character got himself taken hostage like an asshole. Fucking Far Cry. Hey, all right. So, exactly. Zomari Games, working on DLC, improving the story, making stuff to round out the back end of the game, still fine-tuning, still finessing, still showing love to third stage boss battles. Okay? If folks were to check out a game, play the first stage, and be like, it's all right, and not return to it, what's the incentivization for a developer to go into a game and fix a stage 3 boss battle? You know what? The incentivization is love of the game, love of the craft, and love of the product. Okay? Because you don't fix what you don't give a shit about. Okay? And if you realize something could be done better, something could be improved upon in a way, shape, or form, hey, we're a bad example. We know. Okay? Take your own advice, dumbass. Okay, fair enough. But we're trying to motivate you now. All ones of you. So take your motivation. Don't make us follow our own advice. We're working on the studio. Work harder. Fair point. Fair point. We should all work harder, right? We love our studio. Your studio sucks. That's fine. We loves it. It's not done. Damari Games loves their craft. Loves Luke the Hybrid. It's not done. There's more to it. More needs to be fine-tuned. Finessed. Additionally added in the form of the, predating DLC, rounding out the story. Far Cry needs to work on new ways to get kidnapped in their games. Okay? Knocked over the head, taken from behind, taken from the front, taken from the side. They've taken us every single direction that we can think of in Far Cry. Except in the experience of having a good fucking game that will fucking complete. Because we get bored with it. We're done climbing towers. Open world my ass. Make that shit linear. Fucking at least we'll beat it then. Beat it anyway. Go through it. No, we're not going through Far Cry anymore. I don't care about a pet alligator that can bite one person. So, hey, phenomenal. Look at the lofty goals and aspirations, okay? Luke the Hybrid to have 7 stages and approximately 3 of the 7 completed and done. You know what that tells us? That this game is in early access, okay? That the stages are still being developed, fine-tuned, implemented, created, all right, and made into the future endeavor of the completed experience that Luke the Hybrid will become and be. There's a difference as well when a company rolls out an incompleted game, such as the case of even Cyberpunk. We were talking about that a little bit yesterday, too. There's a difference in rolling out a game that's not completed, saying, hey, this game isn't completed, it's early access, there's more stuff in development, more stuff being made and built, but here you go, here's this, okay? And then a game company saying, well, here's the game. Oh, man, those people on PS4 and Xbox One, they are going to be pissed. Oh, man, that shit does not run. There's a difference. The consumer sees it. That's why games like the Assassins of the Creed, the newest of the one, didn't fare as successfully well as they would have hoped or desired, surely. And in the same regards, that's why other independent studios, okay, look at Axiom Verge, again, another entity created by very, very, very small development, one person. Look at Hello Games, small studio, maybe a little bigger now. Hello Games fucked up their release, okay, No Man's Sky. They dropped the ball, they overpromised, underdelivered. We liked what we got out of the gate. We didn't get what we were promised out of the gate, but for us, our expectation was unknown. We knew what the game was saying that it offered. We saw what we got, but for some reason, for us, with Hello Games and No Man's Sky and that development process and the release and the, very, very upset community at the time of release, which has since returned because they have shown the love, dedication, and appreciation to the craft, their art form, and their entity that they created. They fixed it. Now, when we play No Man's Sky now, it's not the No Man's Sky we know. Is it better? Arguably. Is there more to do? Very much so. Does it look better, run better, perform better, have more story to it, more interactiveness, more every element that makes it a far superior game than it was at release? Yes. Is it our No Man's Sky? No. It's not our No Man's Sky. Ours was that pseudo-buggy, very barren, go around and learn alien languages game that we just went around and learned the alien languages. That's all we did for hours and hours. We had to find fuel to go find an alien outpost or an old alien ruin to learn one word of alien dialogue or alien language. We liked it. We had fun with it. It wasn't great. It was very barren and repetitive gameplay in that regard. But the point is that the developer continued showing love to it and developed it into the existence that is now fairly appreciated by the masses as where it once was very much not. So, there you go. There's a lot of games that have done things, like we had talked about Super Smash Brothers, Melee earlier, stuff like that. They bring out mechanics, other games copy them, other games try and implement them and do it, okay? And then there's games that, come out with aspects of it, all right? That kind of perfect what's been done, but do it the best. So they are then regarded as almost the creators of it. So in the case of like Zelda, Breath of the Wild, phenomenal, fantastic game. There's a lot of elements to it that they do extremely well. Your stamina bar, your climbing meter abilities, your, health, the way you cook, a lot of mechanics, okay, that they put into the game really were phenomenal. They made it what it was. But you have other games that come out, okay, that might do a little copying of it. But the thing is, they can still be pretty phenomenal games, even if they utilize mechanics that have been developed, created, implemented, made better, okay, by another studio, another developer, another entity, and another title altogether. Look at Immortals, Phoenix Rising. This game is very fun. It is an extremely fun game. You look at it, you see it, and you go, it's cartoony. Those moves that I see in the gameplay loop, they don't look like they would be inherently that fun. But the thing about it is that it is fun. It is inherently a great play. Do they rip off and utilize a lot of the mechanics from Breath of the Wild to where it's almost like its own Breath of the Wild? Sure. Absolutely. Why not? Every other game does it. The only games that we can't get to be copied are the mechanics from Far Cry of getting kidnapped 3 times in one fucking game. Oh, yes, I'm kidnapped again. Hey, looks like they just want me to go do something or spread a message. We're all friends or something, some way, shape, or form. I don't know. Okay? Games have finally, too, gotten to the point in their mechanics that are presented where you had games that came out like Star Wars, Force Unleashed 2, okay? Games where you have to go and learn your skills as you progress, and you don't really get fully fleshed out until the end of the experience, and by then you don't even get to use the skills as much as you would like to. Hence, New Game Plus became a thing within the last decade or so, all right? As a chance to maintain some of that carryover from your previous run in the game. Okay, add some more playability to it. Obviously, keep that player base active, engage those numbers up, and have everything just kind of, synergize into a phenomenal experience in game. But you have now games that would make you learn every single move as you go through it, okay? Which is, how it goes. It's frustrating when you go and do a part 2 of a game or a part 3 of a game, though, and you got to learn the same moves again, the moves that we've been learning in games as many times as we've stormed the beaches of Normandy. Okay? We really should have a pension for as many times as we've hit that beach. Now, it's been a while, so ironically, we wouldn't mind another, military shooter coming out where we storm the beaches of Normandy again. Funny how that works. Quite the battle, quite the, military engagement. Okay? Hell of a time. That's why games have shown tribute to it in way, shapes, or form. Movies have shown tribute to it in way, shapes, or form. The historical medium of entertainment has reared its head, okay, to teach about the historical event that happened. Games have finally started, though, skipping some of those, not every game, but skipping some of those learning environments, okay? Now, recently, South of Midnight, which inherently we were a decent fan of, okay? Not the greatest game. We're not going to go to bat and say it's, game of the year, but so far, we would say that it's art style, art direction of the year, and while their music in that game is extremely hit or miss, when it hits, it pays off like Death Stranding, which is phenomenal. When it misses, it falls extremely short, and it's like wanting to run your head into a brick wall multiple times to get it out of your head. Don't do that. It's not good for you. The point is that we haven't seen another game or entity do it better yet. So, therefore, South of Midnight is a contender, not a winner. They need to be in the argument, okay, for music, okay? Because this year, now we haven't played everything, but this year, they seem to be pretty up there. They at least need to get a nod, if, anything, and be mentioned in the conversation. Now, for art direction, art style, they're still up there. As far as we're concerned, that should still be a very heavy contender. Maybe not a winner, but you're going to have to really show us artistically where a game creatively implemented a art direction or style better in their game development process. Okay? And like we said, hell, this is not a South by Midnight praise episode. It's game development and mechanics. And in their game development, opting to go with a multitude of art styles, comprising and composing them into an art style that is presented to the player that they haven't seen before, we haven't seen before. Stop-go animation with clay animation, with regular pixel animation, with, all the regular stuff. They did some good stuff there. Say what you will about the game, the story, the gameplay, the elements, the arena-based combat aspect of it. Sure. The lack of skill tree, leveling up and perfecting. Sure, it didn't bother us. There was a small skill tree in that game. Really didn't. We don't need massive skill trees. We just need access to our skills. We don't want to play a game for 80 hours to learn how to do the coolest shit in it. South of Midnight gave us all of our Force Unleashed powers right out of the gate, pretty much. As soon as you needed them, you had them. Now, does every game do that? Sure. One way, shape, or form. Difference is that you got to go through multiple levels before you get there, before you learn those skills, before you have access to that element of the gameplay. Okay? You got games that come out and do it. You got games that come out, do it better, and games that come out and do it worse. Okay? There's no wrong way to eat the Reese's unless you're leaving that shit in the package. In which case, that inherently is probably pretty wrong. Unless you're good at opening it up in your mouth, extracting the Reese's from the paper, reservoir dish container that is in the plastic outside exterior wrapper protecting the Reese's. If you're that good, I mean, you better start writing your number on bathroom stalls. I don't know. Don't do that. You don't want those calls. The hell I don't. Well, whatever, Joey. Anyhow, there's games that have come out and introduced mechanics and ways to go about that do stuff very innovatively and push the bounds of player immersion, player experience, and player engagement. Look at games like Ghosts of the Tsushima, right? Look at how you get from one area to another, following the wind, following the way that the, amber grains of way blow in what direction, okay? But the way that you navigate and traverse around the island and the environment, they broke the mold. What a fantastic way to navigate around. Instead of following a bold yellow line, instead of pulling up a map with a lot of dotted marks and stuff on it, they utilized the world environment in the game environment, therefore creating a real-world environment in a game environment. You don't have the largest grouping of games that utilize elements of nature in their games, okay? Aspects, sure. Parts of it, yes. Ghost of Tsushima, they set themselves apart in how you navigate and find your way around, okay? It's phenomenal. Beautiful to look at. It keeps the screen crisp and clean and clear so that you can enjoy the fantastic and beautiful art that is just resonating throughout the entire game for the most part. It's fantastic. And Ghost of Tsushima deserves praise and accolades going forward for that game mechanic that they utilized in their development process. Some games introduce some very, very neat stuff. Some games rehash and repeat and, re-crank out and redo stuff that's been done before, okay? Immortals Phoenix Rising is not Breath of the Wild, obviously. Has a lot of the same kind of gameplay-esque elements and environment kind of, stipulations and rules governing it. Okay, the respawning of enemies when you have them respawn. The leveling up your stamina bar, the finding new tools or means to, traverse around the world better. Your hang glider is your hang wings. Your, power anklet boot lifter is your power anklet boot lifter. I don't know, whatever. Your harness to throw stuff, whatever, okay? Your sling. I don't know. I don't remember. We haven't played Immortals in a while. It's a fantastic game. We loved it. More than we thought we would. The point is that whether a game's bringing out these mechanics for themselves for the first time or copying them from somewhere else, trying to improve upon them or make them better, or whether they are just trying to make their game improve and be better by, adding these extra elements of gameplay to it, as long as they don't overcrowd it and make the game into something that it's not, inherently, everything should add in the positive. Now, there's some games, we're not going to remember the name, but we believe it was an Egyptian gal whose brother got stolen, and she had to go and fight for him through the kind of Egyptian-like worlds and realms, okay? Pyramids, deserts, we don't remember the name of the game within the last year or two, okay? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. We're not going to look it up now. The game itself, beautiful aesthetic. The gameplay, worked and was flawless. The story was fantastic. Grip you just enough to, sure, all right, my brother was taken, might as well go find him. Okay? The game suffered, in our opinion, which everyone cares about a shitty internet celebrity's opinion, obviously. Or they don't, I don't know. The game added so many elements of combat to it. It went from just using your lance and fighting, and sprinting and dodging and throwing whatever and this, that, the other, to now you can spring and jump off of walls. Now you can spring and jump off of pillars, do backflips over people and stuff like that. Now this, that, the other, now charge up your attacks. Okay, the game got to the point where they added so much mechanically to their small arena-based combat to where in their level design, it stopped functioning how it should for players like us. Button mashers? Sure, button mashers. What the fuck are we doing? Okay? Oh, we can't beat this game. No. We lost control of the character because they added too much to it. Okay? A very rare circumstance where a game company and a development team adds too much to something to make it not function how it should. We would constantly be in combat and battles and trying to, fight an opponent, and our asshole guy would jump off of a pillar, do a backflip, or, go where we wouldn't want him to. Or we would want them to spring off of a pillar, and they would hit it on the other side of it and jump away from combat where we wanted our, avatar placed. The game added so many elements and aspects to it that it became too overwhelming and painstaking of a process for gamers like us to even want to stick through it. If we're going to have combat scenarios and situations and developed and designed combat arenas, okay, in the game, they need to be able to function and work. When there's obstacles that inhibit us from doing what we want to do, and when we try and do it, the obstacles do not allow us to do it via how it needs to be, done or pulled off, okay? Now, maybe we just suck, obviously. We can concede that if that is the only point. Okay? But when there's too much and it's not doing it, and your avatar and character ain't moving where you want them to, you go to jump off something, you back and you jump, and he moves you 90 degrees on the other side of a pillar, and you spring off that. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. Okay? Lost that combat engagement. Do it again. Why? So I can suffer the same painstaking, unresponsive, responsive controls? Because the game was playable, had all the stuff. What was it called? We can't remember. We already told you that. It's the Egyptian one. We liked a lot of elements of it. Loved the history that they were throwing in that game. Oh, the temple information that you would come across. But we couldn't bring ourselves to play the game because they added too much to the combat. Made it not fun. We understand that if they didn't add enough, it would have done the exact same thing. There's a fine balance and a fine tune between combat in games like that. But you look at something like Hades, okay, and what they utilized in their game development kind of cycle, with how outside elements of, runs can affect a run in the future, okay, being able to change elements of what you encounter, how often you encounter something, this, that, the other. Hades did it phenomenally. Hades had a few move sets for each weapon, okay? They had a few weapons. The game was phenomenal. We've been playing Lost in Random, The Eternal Die, the part 2, right? And we're liking it, we really are. We keep telling ourselves, Hades is better. Hades is better. Now, like we said, we're liking our time with it. We keep going run after run, trying to do the exact same stuff you do in any roguelike, okay? Hades is better. They did it better. They do it better. They did it better years ago. We're like in Lost in Random, okay? It's not going to win any accolades from us if anyone compares it to Hades. We're going to be like, yeah, fuck that game. Lost in Random's dog shit compared to Hades. Okay, now it's not. It's only minorly. Yeah, it's like rabbit shit, maybe. I don't know. That's probably less. Easier to contend with. No, there's a bunch of little pellets. I don't know. The point is that regardless of how a game rolls out their development and mechanics that they choose to utilize, there's a fine-tuned balance. Too little, your game's not going to be good. Too many, your game's going to potentially be too unplayable because you've burdened it with so many aspects of gameplay and elements of gameplay, all right, that are counterintuitive to how it should function. Okay, and you add an element of poor map or level design, all right, and it makes it all the worse. And that's why, as many aspects of that, one little game that we did enjoy, we wouldn't bring ourselves to go through further. But let's talk about companies that might improve upon mechanics that they had rolled out and utilized as one of their kind of, first endeavors and stuff like that. You got stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2, right? The Deadeye. Okay, pausing of the time. You could be like, well, some of those Unreal games with the VAT system and stuff like that, from, Fallout and such, those did the pausing of game time too very well initially. We don't know why they got rid of VATs, man. We really love that kind of pause and let us think, especially as we've more boomerfied our boomerizationness. We need the time to think. That's why we're so bad at other games, probably. No, you've always sucked. Well, fair enough. Whatever. The point is that games come out. Okay, Red Dead Redemption, they had their Deadeye. Then they bring out Red Dead Redemption 2, and they still maintain those mechanics that they developed, created, implemented, did for the first time. Okay, maybe one different version of it, way, shape, or form. All right. But they come out, they do it again, they keep working on it, they make it better, and it's just another fantastic mechanic, right, that can get out and, really just become a part of the gaming experience for all of those that undertake going through it. All right? In their process, in their game development, in their mechanics they roll out, you also have elements of games that do everything right, and whilst not remaking and reinventing the wheel, they add elements, okay, that make their wheel run a little smoother, all right? You have games that have rolled and come out, all right? Some of our more favorite of recent decade. Octopath Traveler. Right? When this game first rolled out and hit the Switch, we were infatuated with all of the development decisions that the studio decided to undertake and make and go forward with the game. Square Enix has done some fantastic, phenomenal things over the years, and it's not a surprise that they did some stuff very well in Octopath Traveler. The art design resonated with us off the bat. The turn-based combat is slow enough for boomers. The game did everything perfectly. The story, just like in, Luke the Hybrid that Domari Games is rolling out. Okay? That kind of encapsulates more aspects of it in the DLC. All right? It adds to the story and makes it even better. The stories in Octopath Traveler were phenomenal. Excellent little things you could embark on and go with and things of that nature. Phenomenal gameplay. They even utilized elements of gameplay like their shield break mechanic, right? Which they're not the first ones to do it. Okay, find some X, Y, and Z that works well in a rock, paper, scissors scenario against X, Y, and Z. They did it extremely well. We didn't know until we were at least, a couple chapters in probably on Octopath Traveler that you could push up and down and change the iteration of your weapon. We were like, oh, that's how you do that. We should have learned that way earlier on. When you realize these mechanics are there, it's like opening up an entirely new gaming experience. So as the developers put in mechanics in games that make their games better, make them function more efficiently, run smoother, be more fun, tie stuff together in more, exactly, as long as it's not a buggy, broken mess, and the game developers utilize the aspects of gaming that they love, they like, they appreciated, and hopefully they learned, as they've all gone to Full Sail, presumably. No one goes there anymore. Well, whatever. That was the school back in the 90s. What the fuck's Full Sail? I don't know. It probably sailed off. Whatever. We didn't go there either. Obviously. Whatever. The point is that as games get put through the development process, as teams work on them, whether it's a small studio like your Skycamp studio, your Damari Games, okay, your Luke the Hybrid independent Steam game, okay, or your Spraycraft on your Mark of the Zuckerberg Meta of the Quest headset, okay? When developers show the love and attention to detail and put in all of the elements, okay, that make a game what it is, we all win as gamers. And when it comes down to the development of games and the mechanics of games, you have to kind of just get what you get as gamers, unless you're making that shit yourself. So, we still have about this much more coffee. That does pretty much our talking points, which you might be saying, your point sucked. Fair enough. But we do have this much more coffee, so if you want to interact with a real-life shitty internet celebrity, now is your chance. Keep all nuns of those comments coming in. We can't keep up with them at the speed that we aren't reading them at. Oh, this has gotten way colder since we started. Oh, we got to do better at drinking this faster. Oh, horrible. Excellent. Well, we're now officially out of coffee, so you better entertain us to keep us around any longer. Otherwise, if you want to get out of here before us, now's your chance. So, yeah, we're pretty much done. All right, we gave you a chance. That's it. Once again, we don't need your subscription. We need your money. So downvote the shit out of us and give us a buck. Get off our lawn.